guys, welcome back to Creative Frenzy. Okay, we've been having packages and we have packing paper, so I thought today I'd use some of it up. I've been collecting it for a little while now and I thought I'd make something with it, and I will show you. We are going to make this. It is a 3-pocket envelope. It's great for junk journals or for in your own art journal or whatever you feel like doing. You could put it in your daily planner, but it's got 3 pockets, so it's got the 1 and the 2 and 3. This is done with an 8.5 by 11 copy paper page, just to show you that you don't have to have junk mail or junk paper like I have, but you know, this is what I made out of the other paper. Because it's quite thin, I needed to reinforce it, but I will show you how to make these. Very simple, very easy. I'm going by whatever shape my, whatever size I end up with. I don't really measure. A lot of these papers come already perforated, so you just use it as is, and you can go from there. So it's very simple, very easy. It's fairly thin paper, so it's nice and light and thin to go into your junk journals rather. And I just used some stamping and some simple little journaling cards from the dollar store. It's the Jot one. It's the larger index cards. So these are the 4 by 6 inch. Sorry, I should have had it over here. But I bought 2 packs of the large ones because I kind of like them for other things. They're the perfect size for this kind of project, especially if you do an 8.5 by 11. You can always cut them down or use scrap paper for any of these. So if you really wanted to go through your scraps, this is a perfect way to sort of use them up. So you can use it book pages, all kinds of stuff, right? So that's what we are doing. So I will show you how. And I just tied this one off with some embroidery floss and just, you know, used up some washi tape that I had lying around. I'm sure we all have plenty. So this one is not perforated. This is one giant sheet, so it's a little bit more difficult to get the measurements, but it all depends on what you want it to do. But this one is perforated, so we are going to grab a piece. Let's see. See how it's perforated? So I used to work in a warehouse, and these would come in giant machines, and you press a pedal and it'll all come pouring out, and then you rip it off wherever the perforations are. So that's basically what they use for packaging. So excuse the noise. So we're just going to trim it off. So no measuring involved. You don't have to worry about sizing or anything, because you can make them smaller if you want to by adjusting the folds of your envelope. Okay? So, but it's easier if you just start off one big piece. All right? So that's what we're doing. Let's see. So we're making a basic little, it's not an envelope in the beginning per se. So it's almost like you know, those little glassine bags and things like that. So, but it's the basic construction of that. So that's what we are doing. I'm just using a glue stick. A wet glue would just make everything too difficult to adhere. Okay. A basic little tube. If you wanted to reinforce this, you absolutely could with washi tape. I haven't found that I needed to reinforce it, so I just sort of left it. If you find you've torn off a little bit crooked, you can just trim it off. It's not that big a deal. And because I really hate measuring, and most of my cuts are not even, if I want to do a little thing like that, I go like that. If you want to make a smaller flap, make a smaller corner. If you want to make a bigger flap, you can make a bigger corner. Anyway, so here is the fold where, or the seam where we had. I'm just going to fold up the bottom. Now most of you probably know, remember how to make these, right? It's not too difficult. I like these projects because you can just do a whole bunch of them and you get to recycle or reuse the paper that you've got. You know, you're not wasting any. If you have some scrap pieces of paper, you can always use those. And it's a lot of fun. And I get a kick out of it because then, you know, you feel like you've been a little bit kinder to Mother Earth kind of thing. Okay? So here we are. If you find this is loose, by all means, go in there, fix that up a little bit. But now our bottom is closed. The top, we're going to trim the inner flap. Okay. You can have a smaller flap or a larger flap, whichever way you want to do it. Because it's very thin paper, it's going to rip fairly easily, okay? So you just want to make sure you're not overly rough. Just cut straight across. All right, and then leave it like that. Now what I do, this is your basic little baggie, right? I fold this one over, and I'm going to cut the bottom piece right here where the where we closed it, just a tiny sliver. If you forget about this, it's okay. You can always do it a little bit later with an X-Acto knife, but this way you don't have to worry about it, okay? So now you essentially have 1, 2, 3 pockets, okay? But we're going to close our sides. So this is where you get to use your washi tape. I'm sure a lot of us have quite a bit of it hanging around, but you know, I just choose a bit of a wider one so that I know to get it on there a little bit nicer so you see more of the washi tape. So you could use the pretty ones, you can use the ones you're not so fond of, you know. You could use masking tape if you wanted to. You could even glue paper strips on the sides of these if you wanted to, because I think that would look quite nice too, especially if you want to use up scraps. And then you can go from there. All right. Now I'm going to put one on the bottom. So this, you could glue it if you wanted to. It's not necessary, but if you wanted to, you absolutely could, you know, like we normally do with pockets and stuff like that. But I really like these because they're fun to make. And you can get creative. You can, you know, stencil on them, paint on them, collage on them, do whatever you feel like. So this has a little hole in it. I'm not too concerned about it. I am not worried at all. If you're afraid that your washi tape is not going to stick, run it over a glue stick and then put it on there. But because this paper is fairly thin, it's not going to go anywhere. It'll stick to it. Just trim it off. And then you have your basic construction, okay? And this is a little bit long. If it bothers you, you can just trim it off. There we go. Sometimes it bothers me and sometimes it doesn't. So in here, I'm not going to go all the way across. I'm just going to do a piece. So more or less the same length for each pocket. But I don't need to cover the whole thing if I don't want to. So you just hold it and then you basically fold it onto the inside. So like that. Okay. I'm going to do the same for the other two. And washi tape sticks when you don't want it to and doesn't stick when you do want it to. That's always been my experience anyway. So now remember, one of these, the center one will have that extra little flap because you fold it over the bottom, but that's okay because it'll just help strengthen it. And I'm way off camera here. Okay, here we go. So I would just stick it down first and then I would pick it up and then fold it in like so. And there. Okay. And then one more. I kind of like the edges a little bit on the neater side here, so I just tend to cut it with my scissors. So you sort of know where to go. So part way down, pick it up, and then go and fold it over. This is the finicky part, so you have to be patient because it is thin paper. All right, you don't want to rip it before you even get to use it. All right, so that is basically it. So you have now 3 pockets, okay? 1, 2, and 3. So you can put your journaling cards in here. Let's see, where did I put them? There they are. So these are the large ones, the 4x6. You could put a whole one in there just like that for this packing paper. It's perfect for that. See, 2 and 3. So depending on your packing paper and how much you fold and how small you make it, you know, you can pretty much recycle just about any paper you want to, but this is perfect for that size. If you do not have a grommet tool, okay, or if you don't have any grommets, but you still want some kind of wrap, I thought this would be kind of cute. So just a piece of lace, nice long piece. What we're going to do is we're going to staple it on there, okay? And I don't have a stapler. 1 second. You'd think after all this time of making these videos, I would be more prepared. But anyway, that's beside the point. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to fold this on the inside and then this on the outside, okay? And you could always do this beforehand and then put the washi tape over top. It can get a little finicky, but I think this will work just fine. Okay, you can cover that up with something, but this way, see how that just wraps around nicely? Okay, and then you get to close it, and then you can put it into your junk journal, okay? You can stamp the outside, you can do whatever you feel like. If the staples bother you, you can cover it up with just about anything. You can use a button. You could use a flower. Let's see, what do we have here? So we've got pink. That is very bright. I don't think I like that at all. All right. So here's a pretty little, I like that. Okay. Do I have fabric glue? Yes, I do. Oh my goodness. Again, this is what you get when you have 2 different spots for doing videos. You don't always have everything in the right place, but that's okay. All right, so some fabric glue because it is ribbon and felt here, okay? And then just let it sit, okay? I always hold my glue upside down in these little votive holders. I find it's the easiest way. And yeah, they get messy on the bottom. I don't bother cleaning it out. Sometimes I leave the lid off, especially if I'm doing a whole bunch of gluing. And then I put the lid back on and I just throw it in there. So I know it's always ready. But I always buy the smaller glue bottles from Dollar Tree, actually. This is the premium craft glue. It's great for fabric. It works really, really nice. So I'm very happy with it. And then you'll have to let it dry a little bit, because it does tend to want to stay tacky for a little bit, okay? This one, I put some washers on it. You could put beads on here, whatever you feel like. But this way, if you don't have a little grommet tool, you know, you could use something like this. Just staple the ribbon on, and then you can just, however long you want your ribbon to be, okay? You don't have to really think about it too much, because then you can just sort of tuck it away. You have your little cards in there. This is another little junk journal that I made. I have the other, this one is way too big for this. So this is great for big ones. So if you need to make a smaller one, just cut your envelope a little bit down. But this is perfect. You can just use a paper clip or you can tuck it into a pocket. But, you know, it doesn't really create too much bulk, which is nice. And it's lots of extra writing space. You can put photos in here. You know, whatever you feel like. You know, the recipient can do whatever they want. But, you know, if I were to use this on my own, I could put a photograph on there. I could put whatever I felt like in here. I could put tickets, you know. But it's 3 pockets, so you can do lots of different things with it. So that is one made out of 8.5 by 11 paper. This is made out of packing paper, one of the perforated on the 2 ends, okay? So this is the same as this. Just remember to cut your little bottom off, and then you can put it together with washi tape. This is also made with packing material. This is very, very thin, so I don't know how well that would do. But you could always reinforce it with book pages or other, you could double up the paper and then do the envelope. So here made a nice long skinny one, so if you wanted to do still these cards, just fold them the other way, you know, do them this way and make it long, tall, skinny journaling card. I think that would be kind of cute. So and then you can tuck that in there. So it's the same amount of writing space, it's just a little bit thinner. So if you wanted to do something a little bit different, you absolutely could. I think that would look really cute. You can do the same thing with the ribbon if you didn't have the tools. And this is also made with packing paper. So you could use these to send mail in the mail, obviously. You know, put an address on there, stamp, and away you go. But it's a couple of separate little pockets, so you could put different things in there. It'd be great for Happy Mail. But I thought these would be great for junk journals, for your regular journal or whatever. Yeah, and mass making these and using up some paper you have lying around from packaging. This is the perfect way to use it up. So I hope you liked the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.